Hi. The lesson I'm sharing with you today is the lesson about the parable of the sower. And as you are gathering the kids together for this lesson, it's always a good idea to give them plenty of time to get settled in. In the young learners class, they may be tempted to go and play with the toys, but just really encourage them to come and have a seat. It's a great time for conversation, getting to know them better. I definitely recommend knowing their names or asking their names because it helps them to feel acknowledged, and it gives you the opportunity then to call them by name later in the lesson. And as you're sharing the lesson today, there will be lots of things for them to touch later, but with those 4 and 5-year-olds in particular, but in all the classes, their eagerness to get involved with the story is so high. So I would definitely troubleshoot a little bit and tell them ahead of time, in a moment, it will be my opportunity to touch the story, and there will be a time for you to touch the story, but right now it's time for you to listen. What I often say is when you hear me snap my fingers, that's your cue that you may touch the story. But until then, I'll be touching the story and you'll get to look and listen. By giving them a little bit of a heads up about that, then if they do touch it, all you have to say is, I haven't snapped my fingers yet. And they know what that means. And you don't have to go into explanation about it. They kind of know the expectations ahead of time. I didn't mention that you would take a moment to address the circle of the church here, but hopefully you're used to that routine. And once everyone's gathered and you've kind of got to know each other a little bit, maybe ask them how things are going at school, or ask them their favorite ice cream flavor, or what they're going to dress up as for Halloween, or whatever the topic of that season might be. Then you'd go ahead and begin. So the lesson today is pretty short, and so I'll go ahead and begin. You can definitely include a wondering time at the end for the older kids. With the younger ones, even though it's a short lesson, they might get a little antsy. So I would shorten your wondering time just to allow them to move on to our response. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started then. Hopefully that all made sense. I'm going to move this down so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, friends, look at this. Do you know what this is? You've seen something like this before. Look, it's kind of gold, shiny. Ooh, it's got some interesting sounds inside. Now, friends, this is called a parable. You've seen these before. You know that a parable is a very special story. It's a small story that tells about a big idea. Parables are very precious. They're like gold. This box is gold too. It's not real gold, it's painted gold, but it reminds us of precious things. Doesn't it look kind of like a present? It's missing a bow. But parables are like presents. They have already been given to us. We can't buy them. We can't take them. We can't steal them. They're already ours. But there's another reason that this is probably a parable. It has a lid. Sometimes parables seem to have lids on them. The stories too, not just the ones here in the classroom, but the stories that you might hear other places. Sometimes you will come to a parable and you will not understand it. It's like the door is closed. Imagine this is a door. It might be locked. Other times you will come to a parable and just because you are different, or your life is different, or maybe you understand more about God, or maybe you've grown up a little bit and you understand more about yourself, maybe it will open. Parables are stories that help us to better understand the kingdom of God. So when you're ready, and you're ready to understand, you can lift the lid of a parable and you will see that there's something precious inside. Let's take the lid off of this parable. Let's see what's inside. lot to look at in this box. I'm going to take it one piece at a time. Look at this. I wonder what it could be. It's so brown. What might this be about? What might this be for? Are you ready? Let's begin. Once, there was someone who said amazing things and did such wonderful things that the people began to follow him. And as they followed, he told them about a kingdom, the kingdom of heaven. But they didn't really understand. They had never been to such a place, and they didn't know anyone who had been to such a place. They didn't even know where it was. So they asked him and asked him, listened and listened, and one day he told them this parable, a small story to teach about a big idea, like the kingdom of heaven. Now the storyteller said, a sower, which is kind of a strange word maybe, a sower is like a farmer, someone who plants the seeds. A sower sows the seeds. A planter plants the seeds. A farmer works on a farm. So a sower is the person who puts the seeds down. The sower went out to sow. That means he went out to plant seeds and toss them on the ground. Here's our sower. He went out to plant the seeds. And as the sower went along sowing seeds, some of the seeds, this path has gotten quite short. We'll put in a longer path for you before we tell the story in class. There we go. As the sower was sowing seeds, some of the seeds fell on the path. But you know what happened? Birds came. And they ate the seeds right off the floor, right off the ground, right off the path. Birds just ate them up. Sower kept planting seeds, and some of them fell on rocks. And it's hard to grow plants on rocks, isn't it? But the little seeds did begin to grow just a little bit, but they couldn't put their roots down very far because of the rocks. So even though those little tiny plants had started to grow, when the sun came out, they withered and died. But the sower continued to plant seeds, sowing them all along the path. In one place, there were many, many thorny plants. Ouch. Many, many thorny plants. And as he put the seeds down there, well, the little seeds tried to put down their roots, but the thorns choked them up, grew over and on top, and took away the opportunity that the little plants had to grow. But some of the seeds, thank goodness, some of the seeds fell on warm, good, healthy soil. And when these seeds put down their roots, they grew and grew in that healthy soil. They grew and grew and grew and grew so big. And at last, the harvest came. And goodness gracious, they brought forth the grain. They took the wheat, and they had a big bushel. Oops, you can't really see that, can you? Here. And a bigger bushel, and a bigger bushel. So much grain. 30, 60, 100 bushels, which is quite a lot. And those seeds had the chance to bear fruit. They grew because of the nice, healthy ground. They grew because they had what they needed. And they were able to do what they needed to do, what God had made them to do. The sower threw seeds on the path, birds ate them up. Threw seeds on the rocks, couldn't grow deep enough, so the sun dried them up. Threw them on thorns, and they were choked. Plants couldn't make it. But on the healthy ground, they grew and grew and grew and grew. How many? 30, 60, 100 bushels? It's quite a lot. Okay, it's a pretty short lesson. For the wondering, you could ask some questions based on the age that you're working with. With the older ones, you might really ask them in detail, what do you think it means when the storyteller talks about the rocky ground? What is the rocky ground? What are the thorns really? Not just in this story, but what are they really? What is healthy ground? What does it mean to sow seeds in a healthy place? What is healthy? These are the kinds of questions you can ask for these older kids. With the younger ones, I might say, I wonder how the seeds feel in that good, healthy ground. I wonder how the seeds feel when they're growing the way they're supposed to, when they have what they need. You might ask, I wonder how the sower feels about the seeds on the path, on the rocks, on the thorns, and on the healthy ground. And you might ask them, have you ever been on a path like this? Have you ever been on rocks like this or in a thorny place? Have you ever been in a healthy, warm, wonderful, growing place? So these questions are very open-ended, which allows for the children to give a lot of insight, but also to leave with some big ideas brewing so that they can really grow and understand for themselves what this story is really about. That's the beauty of parables, is they're meant to be kind of thought about and marinated on a little bit longer than just a story which has been told to explain a situation that happened. But a parable is meant to engage us and bring us into a deeper understanding of something very big and mysterious. So give the children the opportunity to do that as you ask those questions. And at this point after the story, you'd begin your response time, whether it's art or playing or music or writing or drawing. And what I usually do is, as I'm gathering them up afterwards, I usually sing a cleanup song. I like to sing Jesus Loves Me because then we can all sing it together and everyone knows it. And as they're cleaning, it gives them kind of a good positive distraction. And after we get tidied up, you'll begin candle time. We have some books about parables, or you can read directly from the Bible and relate back to the story of the sower so that they know it's not just a nice story, it's a story that was told by Jesus. And both the Bible, I'm not sure if the Jesus Storybook Bible has it, but we also have some other great texts that have the story kind of written out in more kid-friendly terms. So light the candle, remind them the Christ candle is a symbol of Christ's presence with us. Pray with them, feast with them, and send them off on their way with maybe a deeper understanding of the kingdom of heaven. So, thanks. I hope this was helpful.